This world is not what we have been told. But they tell us, just very discreetly, like how this trail here is called the Dragon Head Trail, and it just happens to be right next to the Dragon Canyon. And this giant dragon takes up almost the entire state of Utah, and you can see it here, outlined in red right to its head. And how the belly of the dragon trails just literally probably happen to be the belly or the insides of a giant dragon. And when you go to the other side of the country and see similar things that are located right there, just also happen to be the insides of another giant petrified dragon with its spewing there and its mouth here and eyes there and its body almost the entire East Coast. And then when you leave the United States and go across the earth and you check out the Mayan volcano and see another dragon clear as day, and you realize the real reasons that volcanoes exist. But of course, this was all for entertainment purposes. I know this is just some sort of pareidolia.
A large pterodactyl-like creature with a massive wingspan glides overhead. The wings pull back, then flap several times before the animal soars out of view. Let's watch that again. There's a notable triangle-shaped face leading to a point on the back of the skull. And beyond the massive wings, there appear to be two legs. We can clearly see the brownish skin as the creature dives, then glides past the trees. Field researcher Ken Gerhardt is excited to see such footage.
So this clip is really near and dear to my heart because for decades I have been actively researching accounts of living pterosaurs or pterodactyls. I've interviewed dozens of people that swear that they've seen these giant flying reptiles, not birds.
The pterosaurs, who supposedly went extinct 65 million years ago, were neither bird nor dinosaur.
70 million years before birds came on the scene, the first flying vertebrates were the pterosaurs. And they were a highly specialized form of flying reptiles. They evolved into these massive pterodactyls with wingspans up to 36 feet long, making them the largest flying animals ever.
Pterosaur fossils have been found on every continent, including Antarctica. But how the heck could one be flying around Idaho today? Gerhardt is reminded of another sighting, one that became famous in the days of the Wild West.
There's a famous story from 1890. Cowboys riding in the Whetstone Mountains sighted this giant creature. They'd supposedly shoot this thing with their rifles and kill it. And they brought it back to town. There was a photograph which appeared in the Tombstone, Arizona Epitaph newspaper. And this photograph purportedly shows something that looks exactly like this animal. What's really strange, though, is that the photograph seems to have disappeared.
Here's the real reason they went extinct. Smoking. Yeah. Anyway, what made the dinosaurs go extinct? Do you realize they're asking the wrong question? The question is not what made them go extinct. The question is, did they go extinct? Now, they didn't call them dinosaur, though. They called them dragon. See, the word dinosaur wasn't made up till 1841. So for most of human history, these creatures are called dragons. Did you know dinosaurs not even in the dictionary in 1891? For most of human history, they were known as dragons. Now, dragons are mentioned in the Bible 34 times. People say, why aren't dinosaurs in the Bible? Last night, I'm talking to this lady at the counter at the hotel. She said, well, dinosaurs aren't in the Bible. I said, that's correct. That word wasn't made up till 1841. And if you got the right Bible, that was translated 1611. So of course you're not going to find that word in there. Duh. But they called them dragons. Dragons are listed in the dictionary in 1946 as now rare. As the population of people began to grow after the flood, the population of dragons began to go down. Because nobody wants to live next door to a dragon. Same thing happened in Cobb County, Georgia, where Atlanta is today. Do you realize how many grizzly bears there are roaming around the woods right now near Atlanta, Georgia? 0. Do you know how many there were just 300 years ago? Hundreds. What happened to the grizzly bears in Cobb County, Georgia? Well, as people move in and civilize an area, the big ferocious animals are killed off or driven off. Happens everywhere. If it came on the evening news tonight that there were 5 grizzly bears roaming around Cobb County, do you know what would happen by 6 o'clock in the morning? They'd all be dead. Because every redneck in 4 states would be out there with a rifle trying to shoot one. Right? And whoever could shoot the biggest one would be a hero. They'd have his picture on the front page. Hey, Bubba shot the grizzly bear and saved the village. Yeah, he did. Well, that's exactly what happened to the dragons. Man, if you could figure out a way to kill a dragon, they'd be telling stories about you around the campfire from now on. People killed dragons for meat because they were a menace, to prove you're a hero, to prove you're superior, competition for land, or for medicinal purposes. Many ancient recipes call for dragon blood, dragon bones, dragon saliva. Why? Gilgamesh is famous for slaying a dragon. A Chinese legend tells about a guy named Yu that surveyed the land of China. It says after the flood, he surveyed the land and divided it into sections. He built channels to drain the water off to the sea and make the land livable again. Many snakes and dragons were driven from the marshlands. Yeah, that's just normal. If you want to build a city, you got to, drive off the dragons and then build your city. I mean, it was expected. You got to drive the dragons off. Okay? Why would the Chinese calendar have 11 real animals? You know, the pig, the duck, the dog, and a dragon? Why would they put a mythical animal in there? Could it be that at the time they came up with these 12 symbols, there were 12 real animals? Here's one of the oldest pieces of pottery on planet Earth. It's a piece of slate from Egypt, first dynasty of United Egypt. It shows long-necked dragons. We make replicas of it if you want to get one for a prize for your bus route, for some to give out to the kid who does whatever, you could go crazy over these things. Half-size replicas of the oldest piece of pottery on Earth. Why would they put long-necked dinosaurs on pottery 3,800 years ago? Here's 2 long-necked dinosaurs with a sheep in between their mouths. Here's a hippo tusk from the 12th century BC showing an animal with a long neck and a long tail. Here's a cylinder seal showing what appears to quite obviously be long-necked dinosaurs. The Bible talks about a fiery flying serpent in Isaiah 14. Wait a minute, a fiery flying serpent? Well, if you read the story of Herodotus says he went to a certain place in Arabia, almost exactly opposite Buto, to make inquiries concerning the winged serpents. On my arrival, I saw the backbones and ribs of serpents in such numbers as it's impossible to describe. The winged serpent is shaped like the water snake. Its wings are not feathered, but resemble very closely those of the bat. The people where the bones lie at the entrance of a narrow gorge between steep mountains. The story goes that with the spring, the winged snakes come flying from Arabia towards Egypt, but are met in this gorge by the bird called ibises, who forbid their entrance and destroy them all.
The fact that this was discovered hiding under a painting during a renovation of a cathedral in Naples says it all. Another sloppy cover-up of our true past at work. I think they tried to cover up giants and dragons, griffins, and a lot of other creatures. Yet they did such a sloppy job, they just ended up calling them mythical creatures. But isn't it odd, the Chinese zodiac has all real creatures but one. And the fact that so many of our cultures, all across our realm, share the same depictions of dragons, much like they do giants and many other creatures. These artists drew exactly what they saw. And you can still find some mud fossil remains. Like here's the Dragon Head cave in Egypt. This world is vastly different than what we've been told it was. And why cover up dragons? It's the same reason why they lied to us about all of our history. Those unaware of their true past and their true origins are all that much easier to control. Perhaps dragons explain some of those melted castles. And just look what our old dictionary said about dragons. Now rare. And even a news story from England. This was just a few short generations ago. As they say, it only takes a few generations to completely erase our knowledge of our true history. And sloppy as it may be, they have succeeded in doing that. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
here we have the melted structure that we covered, where there are arches, bridges, and the rest. Very clear melting all over the place. So as we zoom out here, we are going to see a massive head. Of course, in my opinion, a dragon. Right here, you can very clearly see its jaw with all of its teeth. Zooming out even more, you can see the size of this thing with its wings and everything. And once you see this, you will never unsee it ever again while looking at the map of the USA. Today we are going to be showing a lot of places that when looking at a map again, this world will never look the same. We're going to show that this place that we live, it's so much more interesting than what we've been told. When we zoom back in on the head, where you can see its molars very clearly here, where the jawline continues, and you of course have the incisors, exactly like we see in all animals today. This is a jawline, 100%. Where we zoom in even more, and you can see for yourself what this location is now called. Black Dragon Canyon. Couldn't get any clearer. First I want to show you these locations' names. We have the Moab, with petrified dunes. Of course we do. Then we have more arches that we are told are naturally occurring. And we've shown this in episode 79, where they just say it randomly happened from some wind blowing the sand because they say it was a hot, dry climate for 150 million years. It's complete nonsense. Delicate arch, looking incredible. We are also given the catacomb rocks, which I would love to know what is underneath or inside of that location. Where at this point, I think I can take a guess. We've seen a ton of things on catacombs. We have a few more arches, and then you zoom out, and you see the size of this thing. It is massive, with this hole right here in this location, where in my opinion, this is where it was killed, where it now creates a mountain range, and a location that I personally will never be able to unsee, showing us that there is still so much more to learn about where we are, and things that have been hiding right in front of our faces for so long, until now. When we zoom in on this location, you are going to see it just has scales all over it. Perfect 90-degree angles, over and over and over. Where we are told, from back in episode 79, this kind of stuff just happened back in the Triassic ages, from 200 million years ago. We had the wind just blowing the right way back then. No. And this dragon, of course, has the name Black Dragon Canyon, right in the mouth, and a highway, Route 70, in our advanced civilization, just cruising right through its head for years. And nobody said anything. Nobody knew. Where we know what a tooth looks like. We don't need somebody to tell us. And those are massive teeth, 100%, with mystery arch off to the right. And we also know that there are 12 Chinese zodiac signs. We have the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. We have 11 things that are very real, and we all know this. And then we have the dragon. And I'm just going to ask the question, why would there be 11 real animals? And then there is one that is a myth. Or are all 12 very real? It's an interesting time to expose this, because we are, of course, right in the middle of the year of the dragon.
Dragons seem to be hot topics right now. Take a look at this new footage that's coming out of Romania. This was captured by a couple of men who were digging a well on their property. What they find looks like a fossilized dragon skull. Could be a dinosaur or something else. But take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Vede, Mihai, ia piciorul de pe el. Bă, tu dai seama, bă? Când a fost sfârșitul lumii. S-au făcut piatre pe cal, fii atent. Bă, omul lui Dumnezeu. Dar chiar e calmă, fii atent. S-au petrificat.
Did you know that, according to the Bible, Leviathan is alive, and in the depths of the ocean, several people, guided by God, claim that Leviathan resides there. The first example is found with King David. When he spoke about the sea, he said that ships sail there. He added that in those waters, Leviathan plays as if it were an amusement park. A clearer example is when God spoke with Job, asking him if he could pull Leviathan out of the sea, and affirming that this creature is in the depths. Something impressive that God said is that humans would not withstand a fight against this being, much less be able to face him. But did you know that Leviathan has already given some signs to humans about its existence? In 2010, American scientists detected a strange sound under the sea near Argentina and Chile. At first, it was thought to be a submarine or something similar, which was later ruled out, opening the possibility that it is a creature measuring more than 98 feet. So far, this remains a mystery. But did you know that the Bible tells us that at the end of times, Leviathan will emerge for God to punish it? And you, where on the planet do you think Leviathan is hiding?
Are you still a dragon denier? Well, if you are, stick around and watch this video, and I bet you won't be anymore. Let's first take a look at what the 1946 dictionaries used to say. Dragons, now rare. Let's see what Alexa has to say about this. Alexa, how many dragon fossils have been found in the United States?
The number of dragon fossils found in the United States is limited. Only 5 fossils have been discovered so far, limiting the knowledge about these creatures. These fossils are studied by researchers to learn more about dragon species and their evolution. While the findings are preliminary, they provide insights into the life and times of these majestic creatures.
So the dictionary says they're real. Alexa says they're real. Several weeks ago in the UK, they found a fossil that looked like this, even though they called a plesiosaur. That sure looks like a dragon to me. And just a few weeks after that was found, CNN reveals that their scientist actually unveiled dragon remains, not to mention how they're part of the Chinese zodiac with all real animals, and how there are over 30 verses in the Bible that reference dragons, and how my friend Lori sent me this amazing 1922 dictionary that just happens to have the word dragon in it. And let's see what it says. Is it going to say fictional character, mythical beast? Or is it going to say something else? Winged serpent. Now, if all this information isn't enough for you, we can take a look at the 2 dragons that I found in the United States that are fossilized. Here's one's head, and its wings stretch out here. Another one is up here at the 4 corners of 4 different states. Let's take a closer look. Not only can you make out this one's wings, and its torso, and its neck, and its head that literally is called Black Dragon Reservoir right where its mouth is open, but you can see its wing. And when you zoom in on that, you see all sorts of dragon scales. And this one here, where its entire head is literally almost the size of a state, and you can see as it died, it probably spewed out just some venom and grossness. You guys can go look at these yourselves. I didn't draw these in. And they're on Google Maps, they're on Yahoo Maps, they're everywhere. They're there, and dragons are real. So why would they hide it from us? Why, when you go to the dictionary now and look up dragon, does it say mythical monster? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think it's because of that right there, and it legitimizes the Bible because it talks about dragons everywhere in the Bible. And I think we're living during a time of great deception, and the great dragon called the devil and Satan is loose for his little season and full on the nations. Oh, and by the way, this was all satire and for entertainment. I even paid Alexa off to say those things. She didn't really mean it. All for entertainment purposes. This was literally one of Yahoo's lead stories today, talking about how this plesiosaur discovery of this giant, huge sea creature dinosaur. I want you to look at that, and I want you to picture what you would imagine a dragon to look like through the images we've seen, through the ancient drawings.
dragons may have actually existed in the ancient past. In 1841, scientists confirmed the existence of dragons by identifying them as dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are believed to have gone extinct around 65 million years ago, yet they appear in numerous ancient drawings and artifacts from just a few thousand years ago. This is curious since we only began discovering dinosaur bones in 1824 and named them dinosaurs in 1841. Before that, we called them dragons. In 2003, Dr. Mary Schweitzer found preserved red blood cells in a T-Rex femur.
We know very little about these beasts that once walked on the surface of our planet,
challenging the belief that soft tissue deteriorates within 1 million years, meaning that some dinosaurs might have lived more recently than previously thought. Nearly every ancient culture had legends of scaly, fire-breathing, flying lizards that warriors fought to protect their land. The Acambaro figurines in Mexico, depicting dinosaurs and humans, were initially dated to 4,500 years old, but later dismissed as a 1930s hoax. This raises the question, did humans coexist with dinosaurs, and were dragons just a rare species of dinosaur that we hunted into extinction for the safety of our future?
Look here, y'all. It's a dragon. There's his head. I'm working on something here on his nose. This piece right here. Right here. See that? Having a hard time getting around now. There's his wings. There's his wing right there. And then this is a wing appendage. It's cracked right here. It's got 3 feathers. See that? His claws on the other side, but here's his head, man. Up close.
In 18 Scotland, elderly fathers found and raised dragon hatchlings hidden in the rugged highlands, creating a powerful alliance that wove the creatures into local legends as fierce guardians of their land.
You have no idea what that is?
Have no clue. But I've heard from paleontologists, you're going to call this one. That's impossible. There were no birds up here with blue feathers during the Ice Age.
You know, there's the Forrest Galante. There's a, see if you can find this video.
That dragons were real. So when you break that down, you think about the fact that large birds had a hard time being fossilized because their bones are so porous, right? So because bones, they have like hollowish bones, they break down very easily and they don't fossilize. So the group that says this, basically they're saying the evidence is the reason there's no fossils of dragons is because they had bird bones and they were actually very delicate animals. But a handful of these small population of these giant flying lizards existed and basically encompassed all these different countries where they all depicted fighting dragons in their own way, and they were all killed off by, you know, knights or whatever it is, and then didn't fossilize.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa. Makes you think.
Yep.
Mga lods, kayo na umusga kung totoo to. Dragon. Ayan, no. Ano sa tingin niya, mga lods?
What are these dragons? And the Bible talks about a fiery flying serpent. What is this? Herodotus in 400 BC reported the fiery flying serpents. You might want to read that story sometime. The fiery flying... Anyway, in the book of Job, it talks about out of his mouth, Leviathan, go burning lamps and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke. Alexander the Great reported dragons when he conquered part of India. Saddam spent a fortune rebuilding the ancient city of Babylon. On the ancient Babylonian walls, which they rebuilt, they found carvings of lions and dragons. This is from 600 BC. How would they know about dragons in 600 BC? Some were still alive, still lived with man. Why would they put dragons on the walls of the city, the Ishtar Gate in Babylon? It's over there right now if you want to go see.
I just wanted to play this one again because you can research baby dragon on YouTube. It's pretty legit. Is there a massive, and I mean massive, sinister plot in the world right now to hide the fact that giants existed and hide the fact that dragons existed and make you think anything found of large bone nature came from dinosaurs? I think there is, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. First, if you haven't seen my giant videos, I've done 3 of them. I think I come up with some pretty good evidence that giants existed. This is just one talking about how the Smithsonian has hidden thousands of giant bones, and I'm not talking 8 or 9 foot giants, up to 18-foot giant humanoid skeleton remains. Here's a femur. Come on, look at that. But stick around. This one's going to be more about dragons and proof that they've been here. All right, back to the original point. What's the sinister plot? It is that dragons existed and giants existed, and that if we knew that, it would legitimize the Bible, it would legitimize God, it would legitimize the fact that we are living in God's creation and not some spinning random accident hurling through space with all these infinite planets and galaxies. That's not what's happening. They hide these, they destroy them, or they tell you they're dinosaurs.
For the first time ever, scientists are unveiling a 240-million-year-old dragon in its entirety. The National Museums of Scotland announced on Friday. 5-meter-long reptile from the Triassic period was first identified in China in 2003, but newly discovered fossils allowed the international team to depict the entire